Hello, welcome back. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my favorite thrift tips and tricks for finding the best finds at the thrift store. I have been thrifting my clothes secondhand almost exclusively now for about 8 years. So I feel like I finally have like a handle on it. Like I know what I'm looking for. I know how to get the things that I'm looking for. And so I want to share this with you to hopefully help you curate your own style. If you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Angela. I buy my clothes secondhand and I share them here on my channel, and I really want to inspire you to do the same. Buying clothes secondhand is really the way to go. It is good for so many reasons. So I want to share my tips and tricks with you for getting the best gems at the thrift store. I want to just make a little note that I recognize this is another talking head video. I've been very busy lately with being with the kids, homeschooling, doing some part-time work, that sitting down and kind of talking through things right now is just kind of like the quickest way for me to film some content. But I do have some outfit videos coming here for the month of November. I have several planned that I'm very excited about, so please do stick around for those. Let's get into my tips and tricks for today. I've got my phone here, which has everything listed out, so I'm gonna reference that here. Also, it's very windy outside today, so if you hear the wind, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. I just live in a very windy place, so we're just gonna kind of keep on rolling with it. So my first tip for finding the best thrift finds at the thrift store is to know your style. I feel like for a really long time, like in my teen years and when I first started buying clothes secondhand, I really was going to the thrift store and just looking for things that were like trendy, things that everybody else was wearing, finding the best deal on something, like looking for brands that everybody else was wearing. And I found that I was getting things and they were like good, but I was not really enjoying wearing them. I would go through them pretty quickly. Like I would wear them and then declutter them, and that's also not really sustainable. Like you want to be able to like buy them and keep them in your closet. For a really long time, I kind of went through that cycle. Now I really know my style. I know exactly what I'm looking for when I go. Like I have like 3 main buckets that I wear. I've mentioned these before, but I really like whimsigoth inspired looks. I also really like 90s like basic inspired looks, and then I have like my everyday wear, which is a lot of like athleisure type stuff. And going in with that mindset and like knowing exactly what it is that I'm looking for in my closet really helps me to stay away from the things that I'm like, oh, that's really cute, it could look really good, but it's just not my style. It makes it really easy to put those things back that I don't necessarily love. The things don't bring a lot of joy. Another way to really find good items at the thrift store is to go with inspiration. I think going in and having outfits that you want to recreate is a really good way to narrow down what you're looking for. It's surprising how easy it can be to find something that is almost exactly what is on your Pinterest board or what you saw somebody wearing on Instagram in the thrift store. I think that just goes to speak about how much clothing really is out there and how much is at the thrift store, and why we should all be buying our clothing secondhand. So that is my tip. The biggest tip, I think, is to just know your style and to know your inspiration when you are walking the aisles. Pull up your phone, pull up Pinterest, and like literally look at the outfit and look for those pieces. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I've really found like things that I've had on my wish list for a very long time. I've found them in the past like 6 months doing that. My next tip is to thrift outside of your size, your gender, and maybe even your expectations. I think if you go in and you're like, I'm a size small, I'm only gonna look through the smalls, I'm only looking in the women's stuff because I'm looking for a very specific shirt, you're not gonna find stuff. You're just gonna go in and you're gonna be disappointed that maybe you didn't find what you were looking for. But when you kind of branch out of like your size, you might find like a graphic tee that is a size large that will look really good on you oversized. You can take it, you can crop it up. I personally, like that's what I do a lot. I go through the bigger sizes because I wear an extra small to a small, but I go through those bigger sizes because a lot of the times the graphic tees and the shirts can be altered in a way that works for my style. I really like graphic tees to be knotted and cropped a little bit, so that works really well for me. I also really like oversized jackets, so going through the oversized jackets or even the men's jackets is a really good way to get that like oversized casual look that I do think is, at least right now, pretty trendy. Also, going outside of your expectations. This one is a little bit hard for me to explain, but if you're going in with the expectation to find something that has a very specific detailing on it, I think you might be disappointed. You kind of have to go with, I'm looking for like say a ruffled white shirt. If you go in and you kind of like think outside of the expectations, like if you're open to different detailing on this white ruffled shirt that you're looking for, you might find something that's really cute that fits into that look even more so than you were expecting. And this also works for like housewares and anything else that you find at the thrift store. Just like go through the aisles and know what you're looking for, know your style, know your inspiration, but go outside of your expectations. If you're looking for something that is wicker, don't just go down the wicker aisle. Go down like the storage aisle. Somebody that is working there may think that this is a storage item and not think that it's should be in the wicker aisle. It happens all the time. People do that with clothing all the time. That's also why you should look outside your size, because sometimes people will put different sizes where they think they're supposed to be. Like I've definitely found like women's clothing in like the girls section because it just happens to look that way. So definitely go outside of your size, gender, expectations, go outside those comfort zones and you'll find some surprising good finds. Tip number 3, and this is really hard, especially for someone like myself, have time and have some patience. It's really hard for me to give a lot of time in the thrift store because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my kids are often with me. So I do kind of go through the aisles very quickly. But if you can have a little bit of time, take like a morning, go right after the store opens, bring a coffee, and really take your time and go through the pieces that you are searching through, you're gonna find some good items. I think that's the one thing that people just don't put a lot of time into, is they go into the thrift store and they expect they're just gonna like find stuff just like you would going into a fast fashion store. It doesn't work like that. You have to have some time, patience, and some drive in order to do that. And the patience thing, and I guess for time as well, it's important to take time into consideration in terms of like long term. Don't just think you're gonna go in one day, you're gonna find it and then like take it off your list. You might have to have items on your list for months or even years until you find them. If you really are looking for something that is a very specific item that you know what you're looking for, do not find something and just take it because it's similar. I really would encourage you to put it back on the rack and to give it some more time and think about it, and it usually will pop up. A really good example for me is my leather jacket. I recently got a leather jacket that I thrifted and it is amazing. It's everything I wanted in a leather jacket. It's a medium, so bigger than I needed. It has a hood, which was not on my list, but it is this leather jacket that just fits perfectly with my style. And a few months before, I had just like bought a random, it was actually a Harley Davidson leather jacket, and I ended up not loving it. I ended up reselling it because it just didn't fit what I was looking for. If I had just waited the extra like 2, 3, 4 months until I found the one that I was actually looking for, I would have never wasted the time and the money on the first one. So thankfully I resold that. It's in somebody's hands that loves it, and I'm so happy for that. But please give some time and patience when thrifting. Here is my last tip and trick, and this one is a little bit different and kind of like why I put it at the end. This recommendation is to thrift unconventionally, and what I mean by that is to thrift in ways that you don't typically think of when you think of thrifting. So obviously thrifting in person is probably what most people think of, going to the thrift store, looking through the aisles. That is obviously very common. Another way to thrift that I use all the time is ThredUp. I think ThredUp has become pretty popular. Poshmark, those types of websites, really popular ways of buying things secondhand. When I say to thrift unconventionally, I mean get on Facebook Marketplace, get onto Facebook garage sale groups, do a clothing swap in your city or your neighborhood, and also to go on eBay. I do not hear people talking about eBay for buying clothes nearly enough. It is one of my favorite ways to do it for a very specific item. But doing eBay along with all the other ones I mentioned, you will find some really unique things. People in my area have a lot of Harley Davidson items. Like, it's just a really popular item because of where I live. A lot of people ride motorcycles, so there's a lot of Harley Davidson stuff on like the Facebook Marketplace in my area. I'm in my like local town's sales page. I've had things pop up there that people are selling that you just wouldn't think would be in the thrift store. So those are like what I mean by thrifting unconventionally. Think outside the box. Just see where you can maybe find clothing where you wouldn't expect it. Another way you could do this, going through your mom's closet or like a relative's closet who is a little bit older than you. I feel like you're gonna find really good items because fashion cycles. It goes through like 20, 30-year cycles. That's why like the 90s and like the 2000s are so popular right now. Sometimes I even ask my mother-in-law ask her if I can like go through some of her items, and a lot of the times she's got what I'm looking for and it works really well. All right, those are my tips and tricks for getting the best thrift finds in a thrift store or online, wherever you like to do your shopping. I really hope that this helps you. This is like my tried and true, like this is how I'm always finding good things that fit my style. And that's the other thing to keep in mind, is everybody's style is going to be a little bit different. So when I go to the store and I find something that I love, it may not be what somebody else loves. And that's what I absolutely love about thrifting and curating your own style. Please let me know if these tips help you out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.